Hello everybody, my name is Kira Show Music, or more commonly known as Kira, and well, mixing intros. But anyways, welcome back to our little series we have here. If you didn't watch the first episode, I am showing how I make covers, and yeah, so on the last episode, if you didn't watch it, I said you should go watch it. I go a bit more in depth about the song we're doing right now, but basically it covers anything you need to know about creating your own instrumental. Use your basic one instrument instrumental. Background track, anything like that, minus recording. I think that'll be a fourth part. I will cover how I usually record things and I put it all together for someone who's an absolute beginner who really doesn't have any microphones or anything like that. Just basically, if you have a phone and headphones, all you need, alright? So in today's episode, we are going to be covering vocals. Now, kind of going out of order, but usually I do my vocals before my accent instruments. Reason being that I don't want to, if I'm going to redo something, I'd rather redo the instruments than my vocals. And my accent instruments, like I said, are just really little add-ons. They're not like huge parts of the song, while the vocals are very huge parts of the song, especially in a song like this. So if you didn't watch the last video, we are doing El Tango de Roxanne as my example from Moulin Rouge. If you want to hear the backstory of that, link in the description. Go back to my last video, part 1 of this series. Anyways, and the cover will be coming out at the end of the series, just so you can hear it all coming together and stuff like that, alright? So technically it will be about a 5-part series. So now we are on to vocals, and we are going to go, bit by bit, just as I did last time. Okay? So without further ado, I'll stop rambling, let's get into it. So, I don't think I will have to switch camera angles just because vocals are up here. So yeah, we start with the intro, and all the instrumental for that stuff. So the intro starts with a speaking role, and speaking parts can be a little iffy from time to time when doing music, because sometimes, I personally have this issue with speaking parts, because I'm like, well, I could sing just fine, it's just speaking, what if I sound awkward, what if I just sound too monotone in my speaking, what if there's not enough emotion in my voice, for God's sake. So, it just depends on the song you're doing, but speaking parts can be a little tricky. So, for this one, he is basically just saying, like, anger and jealousy and all that, it'll drive you mad. So basically, this speaking part includes a lot of yelling. Yeah, it's just a very angry, intense song, and as I explained a lot in the last video that I did, it's really explaining, words. Style has a lot to do with this, and like I said, it's really not a very graded thing, when you go to competition and stuff like that, style is not very graded, but in this case, in doing your covers and songs, style will go a very long way. Especially with songs like El Tango de Roxanne, where style is huge and emotion is huge, because the whole song is just emotion, and that goes for a lot of songs. I mean, you can sing some songs without that much styling and just copying them, but really doing a cover versus copying, it has a lot to do with making it your own style. So in this intro, it has this speaking part where it's like, first there is vengeance, and then there is anger and all that stuff. But I'm not really going to focus on that part. If I do say it, I'm not going to yell it. Personally, for this beginning part, I'm going to focus on the line, will drive you mad. It's jealousy, will drive you mad. And really, personally, as I explained in the last video, I personally think it's more of like a jealousy, it'll drive you mad. So more of like a kind of upbeat thing, kind of like a I told you so, you're gonna get your heart broken kind of moment. So it'd probably be, it's just on a G minor, so in jealousy will drive you mad. See, I didn't yell it, I mean, it's yelling, but I'm not a, burly, husky man. So, it's just your own style. I personally would prefer to make it a more upbeat kind of moment before we get to the sad and depressing things. Alright? So moving on to actual vocals. The first intro area. So, first area, like I said, I'm not a big burly man, and it's a very heavy area. So I'm going to have to depend on my instrumental a lot for that weight. Because I can't make my voice as low as it can go. I can't make it that heavy because I just don't have that ability. But we can try our best here. So the beginning, just that first line is Roxanne. You don't have to put on that red light. So this beginning intro area, I'm really not gonna cover all that much. I'm just gonna sing it normally. Just because this isn't where a lot of the motion is. Alright, there is emotion here, but when we talk about emotion, we focus on the huge parts of the song that progressively. So I like to think of the song as one big crescendo or increase out into it. So like it starts off like a little emotion, and then by the end of it you're crying and bawling your eyes out, So that's how I like to think of the song. So we're going to start off pretty simple. So with the beginning intro chorus, I'm just all the way to you don't have to sell your body to the light. I'm just going to start off very simple. From red light. Walk the streets for money. You don't care if it's wrong or if it's right. Roxanne. And when I said, so that could be a crescendo there. So I like to think when you're starting this new, especially in this one where it has a main focal point, which is the word Roxanne, I want to make that one a bit more emphasized. If there's like a big focus point, like emphasized. Like in let's think of another modern song that people would know. Senorita. When you're doing Senorita, I love you when you call me. Emphasize Senorita. It's a lot more emphasized than the rest of the song. And this is the same way with a lot of songs that use the title of the song in their lyrics. So this one, walk the streets for money. You don't care if it's wrong or if it's right. Emphasis, Roxanne. And then a little bit quieter. You don't have to wear that dress tonight, Roxanne. And here I'm going to crescendo a bit because it's the very end of the verse. You don't have to sell your body to the night. And this whole piece is very heavy, like I said, so I'm going to be staying in my lower range for a lot of it. If it's a lighter piece, like In the Name of Love, In the Name of Love, I would keep it in my higher range, so it's not really dark and depressing, it's focusing on the mood of the song. This one's very heavy, so I'm going to keep my voice very low, very heavy. I'm not going to take it up an octave, as I would usually with other songs. This one I'm going to keep it in its original octave. I'm going to be using my chest voice for a lot of this song. I don't want very high, soft tones, especially in this kind of tango, it's very heavy. How many times am I going to say heavy in this song, in this video? So I'm going to stay in my chest voice, Sell your body to the night, sell your body to the night. It's not, my chest voice is going to be a lot more full and less breathy, and so I'm going to stay in my chest voice for a lot of this song. But again, it just depends on your preference. So anyways, going from you don't have to sell your body to the night. And maybe a crescendo as you go through, if you're going through a long section, crescendo through it, or if you don't know what that means, it means get louder through it, and yeah. So now we're on to the build-up, as I like to call it, and like I said, it's build-up. So this is where, as I explained in the last video, it's kind of like you're clenching your fists and you're like, I'm getting so angry, and then the chorus is going to be your big outburst of rage. Okay, so this one, he's kind of trembling, trembling, and you're kind of choking over yourself because you're crying, And so this one, if you recall, if you watched the first video, our piano goes along with it. So we're going to make our voice match it, kind of like a trembly light. This is where I'm probably going to go up a little bit into my head voice, maybe have a mixture of the two. Okay, so I'll probably do something like, his eyes upon your face, his hand upon your hand. I'm going to crescendo through it, get a little bit heavier as you get to the chorus. His lips caress your skin, as I push down the pedal, I'm also going to sustain my voice a bit more. It's more than I can stand. Okay, and so with build-ups, with any build-up, you want to start quiet and then crescendo up to it. To me, that adds a bit more emotion to it. And, yeah. So, straight on to the chorus, which is our big, heavy, after it's more than I can stand. Actually, that's something to cover there. As I said with my chest voice, I'm not going, it's more than I can stand. Same octave, but it's not as heavy. And I really want that, it's more than I can stand. And I'm adding a bit of cry to my voice, which kind of conveys the emotion. So I'm not just going, it's more than I can stand, which I can do that, but it's more than I can stand. You hear the difference of the little cry in the voice? It helps convey that emotion a bit better. So now to the chorus, the why does, I'm going to try to match the heaviness of my piano. Does my heart cry? Again with the cry in the voice. Feelings I'm not going into head voice, I'm going to stay in that chest voice. Can't fight. And now going, as the chorus slows, I'm going to, again, match my instrumental. Go a bit softer. You're free to leave me, but just don't deceive me, and please. Going to go crescendo up into these long notes. Believe me when I say I love you. Okay? So the chorus, as it repeats after the bridge, the little piano part, and the violin solo, not the violin solo, just the piano bridge, it's the same thing up until, so what is my feelings I can't fight, but once you get to, and please, there we go, and please, so it changes from you're free to leave me, but just don't deceive me, and please, now we're gonna go up, believe me when I say I love you. So it's a little bit different because now he sees his lover up on the balcony and he's yelling out to her, and so we really want to convey that yelling out. So we're not going to go I love you because no one's going to be able to hear that. Your lover's up on the balcony, she can't hear you. So we really want to match that emotion of that part in the song. So instead of I love you, we're going to belt it. And if you can hear, I have a little vibrato in my voice just to add, a little something, something. So now we are going to the soft part. So after I love you, again, did it in that voice, but you know what I mean? It's cuts off suddenly, so, and please believe me when I say I love you. And go off to the soft part. Come what may. This is where I'm going to go into my head voice. Also, the female part is responding back. It's very soft, very quiet. It's the moment of peace, like eerily silent part in the song. So I'm going to match my soft piano. Come what may, I will love you until my dying days. Even as I go low, I'm not going to go days, because days. Violin solo or cello, because my violin's broken. So we have that solo there, and it's kind of eerily quiet, and you hear just the screeching from the violin, and it's building up again, and now this is going to be the heaviest part of the song, okay? So after the violin solo, we're going to end again on our B7. And now this is a huge part. And it's going to be a little hard. So now we've changed keys, and anything with a key change, like whenever you have a key change in the middle of the song, always kind of test that with your chords. Why? Match pitch. Why because it used to be why. So you want to make sure you have your key change. So practice that a few times before doing your final product, okay? So now we have our, now we're going to go, I'm still going to belt it out. So why, I'm using a very open mouth so that it's not why. You can hear the very difference. Don't know why you'd ever go why, but it's trying to keep that very open tone, okay? So that is not odd. Okay, so we're ready to. Why does my heart cry? I think I went off to the second. Feelings I can't fight. And then we're doing a key change, so make sure you have it. Right? Why does my heart cry? Feelings I can't. And we have a different chord here. Fight. Anytime you have an accidental or just a half step down, it's for emphasis in a minor key especially. Make sure you can, again, match pitch. Fight. Feelings I can't fight. It's the big and Roxanne. So it's a very heavy tone. And so yeah, just as an overview, check. So yeah, okay. Overview, check the style of your song. It all depends when making your cover, check the style. And in this one, it's a very loud and booming song, but it has soft little parts, which is why I chose it, so that you can see the difference between using your head and your chest voice and belting versus, very soft, breathy sounds. Which, yeah, it has quite a difference, but yeah, I hope you can understand where to see all those. I know I'm not the greatest at explaining things, but I thought by doing an example, it might help a bit. Another thing is just try to match your instrumental, which is why I made the instrumental video first, so that you can match your instrumental. Because you don't want your instrumental being super soft and you yelling, and people are like, what is she doing? Okay. Or your instrumental's being very loud and you're very quiet and no one can hear you. So the best thing to do is just follow your instrumental and listen to the song a whole hell of a lot of times and study the style that the song is in. If it's a teeny bopper pop song, then, you don't really have to study the style all that much. But if it's, something like Tango de Roxanne or something from a Broadway musical, you're going to really want to study the style that it's in. Like something from Les Mis, you're really going to want to study that kind of Broadway-esque style. Something from Phantom of the Opera, you better study how to sing opera, or else, woof. It's going to be interesting. And then, of course, that doesn't mean I have to sing an opera if I want to sing Phantom of the Opera. You can still sing, I'll do one last example of style, point of no return. Hold on. Return. Good. Okay. So, for example, here, let's look at past the point of no return from front of the opera, like I just said. Okay, so past the point of no return is an opera song. Past the point of no return. You could sing it very operatic. Or, like I said, all depends on your personal style. But you could also sing it past the point of no return, no backward glances. You could sing it very operatic, or I can't go down an octave, but past the point of no return, no backward glances. Just the emphasis of saying glance versus glance. It's a very change. You could make it more modern by saying glance rather than saying glance. just how you say words also has a big effect on it. But anyways, I'm gonna leave this episode in our series here, and yeah, if you enjoyed this video, well then, do whatever you must, and yeah, cheers to us, snails all around, feel the awesomeness of the channel, I know I can, and yeah, stay musical.